Bingo is legal in all of the United States except 3: Arkansas, Utah, and Hawaii. If you had lived in Rome during the 1500s, you might have spent some of your leisure hours drinking red wine and checking up on whether you had a winner amongst your provincial lottery tickets. Lotteries were common in many Italian states. When Italy was united in 1530, the Italian National Lottery was organized and has been held almost without a pause at weekly intervals. Bingo, as we know it today, is a direct descendant of the Italian National Lottery. In the classic version of Lotto, which developed during this period, the playing card used in the game was divided into 3 horizontal and 9 vertical rows. Each horizontal row had 5 numbered and 4 blank squares in a random arrangement. The vertical rows contained numbers 1 to 90 in the first row, 11 to 20 in the second row, and so on up to 90. No 2 Lotto cards were alike. Chips numbered from 1 to 90 completed playing equipment. Players were dealt a single Lotto card, then the caller would draw a small wooden numbered token from a cloth bag and read the number aloud. The player would cover the number if it appeared on their card. The first player to cover a horizontal row was the winner. It was on Christmas Eve of 1929 when a very tired New York toy salesman, Edwin S. Lowe, decided to drive on to Jacksonville, Georgia, so they might have an early start for his next day's appointments. A few miles from Jacksonville, Lowe came around a bend in the road and was greeted by the bright lights of a county carnival. He was ahead of schedule, so he parked his car and got out. All of the carnival booths were closed except one, which was packed with people. Lowe stood on tiptoes and peered over the shoulders of the participants. The action centered on a horseshoe-shaped table covered with numbered cards and beans. The game being played was a variation of Lotto called Beano. The pitchman, or caller, pulled small numbered wooden discs from an old cigar box and at the same time called the number aloud. The players responded by eagerly checking their card to see if they had the number called. If so, they would place a bean on the number. This sequence continued until someone filled a line of numbers on their card, either horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. This feat was marked by the shout of Beano. The winner received a small Cupid doll. Ed Lowe tried to play Beano that night, but he recalls, "I couldn't get a seat. But while I was waiting around, I noticed that the players were practically addicted to the game. The pitchman wanted to close up, but every time he said, 'This is the last game,' nobody moved. When he finally closed at 3 a.m., he had to chase them out." After locking up, the pitchman told Lowe that he had run across a game called Lotto while traveling with a carnival in Germany the previous year. His immediate thought was that it would make a good tent or carnival game. He made a few changes in its play and a change of the name to Beano. The game proved to be such a surefire crowd pleaser and moneymaker that on his return to the United States, he continued to work the game on the carnival circuit. Returning to his home in New York, Lowe bought some dried beans, a rubber numbering stamp, and some cardboard. Friends were invited to his apartment, and Ed Lowe assumed the pitchman's duties. Soon, his friends were playing Beano with the same tension and excitement as he had seen at the carnival. During one session, Lowe noticed that one of his players was close to winning. She got more excited as each bean was added to her card. Finally, there was one number left, and it was called. The woman jumped up, become tongue-tied, and instead of shouting Beano, stuttered bingo. I cannot describe the strange sense of elation which that girl's cry brought to me. Lowe said, "All I could think of was that I was going to come out with this game, and it was going to be called Bingo." In 1930, a university professor assumed the mind-boggling task of devising 6,000 bingo cards with non-repeating number groupings. He succeeded, and also went insane, and spent the rest of his life in a tower not unlike this one. As popular as it is today, bingo has had its many ups and downs over the years. Right after World War II, bingo was immensely popular because people were looking for some form of entertainment, and bingo fit that niche quite well. Unfortunately, during the late 40s and early 50s, stories of rigged games completely destroyed bingo. In the 1960s, it was the same church leaders that had pushed for bingo's banishment that brought about its resurrection. By 1973, nearly 2/3 of the states had legalized bingo. Now, bingo is not only acceptable, it is downright respectable. Bingo is so popular because of its simplicity and ease in learning how to play. This is a bingo card. It consists of 5 rows of 5 squares with a total of 25 squares. As you can see, every square has a number except the center square, which is labeled free. This free square can be considered covered in all games. Under the letter B are the numbers 1 to 15. Under the letter I, numbers 16 to 30. Under the letter N, numbers 31 to 45. Under the letter G, numbers 46 to 60. And under the letter O, 61 to 75. Now that you understand the bingo card, you are ready to play. Well, almost. Some numbers would help. The selection of numbers is accomplished by a random draw from a set of 75 bingo balls, numbered consecutively and with the appropriate letter designating its vertical row on the bingo card. The bingo balls are usually mixed in what is called a blower, or in smaller games where the budget does not permit this luxury, a wire cage. The blower usually involves a glass enclosure in which the bingo balls are placed. An electric air compressor drives air into the enclosure, which agitates and mixes the bingo balls. One bingo ball is drawn at a time through a mechanical ball release mechanism.
B number 10.
The ball's letter and number are then read aloud by the game's caller. Let's take a look at the 2 bingo cards. In fact, let's study them very carefully. Every bingo card has 24 numbers and a free square in the middle. As you can see, this illustration shows the 16 probability squares highlighted. They are the symmetrical high-win squares. Most games won in bingo involve the numbers in these squares. In this illustration, you see the 8 low-win squares. Notice carefully that in order to win with these numbers, you must cover 5 numbers either vertically or horizontally, for the free square is not involved in any of these numbers. It is quite obvious that the 16 high-win locations in the upper corner involve the free square, thus enabling you to win your games by covering only 4 numbers. The odds then turn heavily in your favor. Memorize the locations of the high-win squares.
That'd be nice, David.
Yeah.
Hey ladies, if you're going to win that cash ball, you got 5 minutes, huh?
Oh, let's go.
Oh, it's time to go.
Here we are. Let's go.
Bye.
Chance, or luck if you will, is looked upon by most people as being totally uncontrollable. Therefore, most people play bingo just for the fun of it. In this video, though, we're going to show you how to tweak the odds a little bit in your favor by studying certain situations and how to pick the right cards. Tonight, we're at the Showboat Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada, and we're going to watch some games and see how they're played so you get a better understanding of the game of bingo. If you pay close attention to the master board, which few people do, it becomes apparent that different repeating patterns will consistently appear on the board. It is possible to select bingo cards to match these patterns, and in doing so, increase your chances of winning. You must realize and firmly believe that you can develop a system to improve your odds. You know that the machine contains 75 number balls which are drawn at random as the game progresses.
And 34.
The laws of gambling probability now come into play. Numbered 1 through 75, the probability that odd and even numbers will balance is present. Double-digit numbers ending in 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. will tend to balance. Low and high numbers tend to balance. Cutting 75 in half and taking 37 as the median, you'll find as the game progresses that the average number drawn will be in the area of 35 to 40. What we are trying to say here is this: bingo is a game of numbers. Therefore, like any game of chance, probability is there in each and every game. Study the patterns on the master board as each game you play progresses. After a short time, you will see a subtle and various repetitive patterns. You'll see, in fact, a kind of symmetrical relationship time after time again. Remember, your bingo cards are printed vertically. The master board is shown horizontally. Turn your card 90 degrees to the right. In this way, you'll be looking at your numbers as they would appear on the board. Now, as the numbers flash on the board, you'll notice the distinctive distribution patterns both on the boards and on your cards. It takes time and patience to learn how to select your bingo cards. It may seem easier, but it is unwise to try to fit the board to your cards. The opposite view is taken by bingo experts. Fit your cards to the board. Do not, for example, pick cards whose numbers combinations concentrate on the left or right-hand side of the board. Keep in mind always that the balls that pop out of the machine tend to balance themselves on the board to form a symmetrical relationship. In simple terms, the master board, after 15 calls, would be lit up in many different areas, not concentrated at the top or bottom, the left or the right. This is symmetrical probability, the law of balancing number distribution. After the first 10 numbers are called in a game, notice the digit endings. In all probability, they will tend to be different. For example, if the number N34 is called first, the theory of probability and common sense dictates that because there is one less ball in the drum ending in the digit 4, the odds would be that the next number drawn will not end in number 4. Should the next number called be 071, the probability is very strong that the third number drawn would end in neither a 1 or a 4. When you play bingo, from here on, think, concentrate, memorize. Select cards not on a hunch, your birthday number, or some other notion, but select wisely. The first game tonight is the letter T. The minimum payoff is $75. The maximum payoff is $575. Game number 2 is single into double. Minimum payoff $75, maximum payoff $525. Game number 3 is single into double. Minimum payoff $75, maximum payoff $525. Game number 9, single into double, $150 minimum payoff, $1,050 maximum payoff. Now we're going to show you a variety of ways to play bingo. In the upper left-hand corner, we have game 69. To the right of that, we have 4 square. On the bottom left-hand corner is the plug. And to the right of that is blackout. On the top left-hand corner, we have the little house. To the right of that, we have the turtle. On the bottom left, we have the big picture frame. And to the right of that, we have PS. On the top left-hand corner, we have the double L. To the right of that, we have the snowflake. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the iron cross. And to the right of that, we have the 4-corner cluster. On the top left-hand corner, we have the letter L. To the right of that, we have baby blocks. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the letter G. And to the right of that, we have model A. On the top left-hand corner, we have the little picture frame. To the right of that is the dog bone. On the bottom left-hand corner is the cross corner. And to the right of that is make sense. On the top left-hand corner, we have the peace sign. To the right of that, we have the double cross. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the pyramid, and to the right of that, we have the giant cluster. On the top left-hand corner, we have the lucky 7. To the right of that is order in the court. On the bottom left-hand corner is let's play golf, and to the right of that is hopscotch. On the upper left-hand corner, we have the chair. To the right of that, the Little Dipper. The bottom left-hand corner is the letter X, and to the right of that is window shade. On the top left-hand corner, we have the big diamond. To the right of that, the letter T. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the double X, and to the right of that, we have arrowhead. On the top left-hand corner, we have the stepladder. To the right of that, we have the postage stamp. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the lazy letter T, and to the right of that, we have the cross. On the top left-hand corner, we have regular bingo. To the right of that, we have the 6-pack. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have private stripes, and to the right of that, the letter Y. On the top left-hand corner, we have the 4 corners. To the right of that, we have the open big diamond. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the 4 inside corners, and to the right of that, we have the little diamond. On the top left-hand corner, we have the letter B. To the right of that is 7,11. On the bottom left-hand corner is the letter S, and to the right of that is tic-tac-toe. In the upper left-hand corner, we have sergeant stripes. To the right of that, the letter E. On the bottom left-hand corner, the number 13, and to the right of that, the letter A. On the top left-hand corner, we have end zones. To the right of that, we have the camel. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have butterfly. And to the right of that, the letter C. On the top left-hand corner, we have high noon. To the right of that, the letter P. On the bottom left-hand corner, the letter D. And to the right of that, we have the wine glass. On the top left-hand corner, we have hangman's noose. To the right of that, we have the top hat. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have Cupid's arrow. And to the right of that, the letter U. On the top left-hand corner, we have the letter M. To the right of that, the letter H. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have picture holder. And to the right of that, we have the flag. On the top left-hand corner, we have which way. To the right of that, we have bow tie. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the trident. To the right of that, we have the cannon. Boom. On the top left-hand corner, we have the railroad. To the right of that, we have high. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have Cupid's heart. To the right of that, we have the checkerboard. On the top left-hand corner, we have the letter F. To the right of that, we have the bell. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the double diamond. And to the right of that, we have dominoes. On the top left-hand corner, we have the question mark. To the right of that, the Big Dipper. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the picnic table. And to the right of that, the rocking chair. On the top left-hand corner, we have the poodle. To the right of that, we have G flat. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the egg cup. And to the right of that, the letter J. On the top left-hand corner, we have the kickoff. To the right of that, we have the crazy corner. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the four-leaf clover. And to the right of that, we have the champagne glass. On the top left-hand corner, we have the hot dog. To the right of that, we have the anchor. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the bingo bunny. And to the right of that, we have the kite. On the top left-hand corner, we have Mutt and Jeff. To the right of that, we have the lollipop. On the bottom left-hand corner, we have the airplane. And to the right of that, we have the Christmas tree.
Now let's talk a little bit about the people that play bingo. When it comes to male and female, the male population makes up 43%. The female population makes up 57% of the people who play bingo. Age-wise, 18 to 24 years is 11%. 25 to 44 years is 22%. 45 to 64 is 38%. And 65 and above makes up 11%. 59% of the people who play the lottery also play bingo. 28% that go to the horse track like to play bingo. 43% that visit casinos play bingo while they're there. 9% of the people that go to the dog tracks like to play bingo. And 5% of the people that play the numbers in your hometown, they like to play bingo also.
Some bingo experts swear by this system. It is a system that can be played extremely effective for the right type of player. Considered the most challenging and difficult, this win method is also the most time-consuming. It can be employed only by the individual who plays with a 4-card maximum per game. To each session, you would bring a sheet of paper numbered 1 through 75. Each number preferably by itself in a fairly large square. For every number that the caller calls all evening, you would check your sheet in the appropriate square. After the session, you would go home, determine how many times each number has been called, and divide each number by 75. The answers to these calculations would tell you how often a particular number was called in relation to the others. Making the system workable, however, would require you to repeat this process for at least 5 sessions. After calculating the above numbers as taken from your tally sheets, you would attempt to select your cards accordingly. Not surprisingly, the track system is the least popular of all. Did you know that if you select 6 cards at random, they will average 22 duplicate numbers and 25 missing numbers? Maybe the reason you haven't been winning is because you've been playing with 47 or less numbers. And there are 75. Why make the odds worse? Smart bingo players win quite often. Year after year they come out ahead. Each set of 3 cards illustrated below contains 72 different numbers. By selecting quality cards such as these, you will increase your chances of winning consistently. The best advice is to pick only a few cards. People playing 8, 10, or a dozen cards are lucky to keep up with the caller, let alone have time to study the patterns on the master board against their cards. Most players think that their chance of winning increase proportionally with the number of cards that they play, and that is not a mathematical truism. Playing 8 cards instead of 4 does not double your chances of winning. Your chances, in fact, increase only slightly. Even if you have to forego some of the regular games because you're short of cash, always play the jackpot game. When more than 57 numbers are to be called in a jackpot, the odds are excellent that someone will win the game. A regular bingo game consists of an average of 12 calls. And remember, Louis Pasteur once said, "Chance favors the prepared mind." Admission fee. In some states, a donation made by the player, which allows for admission to the games as well as a specific number of cards. all-night board, bingo card which may be used for all games during the session. Beano, the name of the game before it was named bingo. Also, in some states such as Massachusetts, it's still the name of the game. Bingo Bugle, a special interest newspaper for bingo players which is available free of charge in many U.S. markets. Blackout, bingo game in which a player must cover all of the numbers on their card, also known as a coverall game. Blower, in bingo, a forced air mixing device which allows for the random selection of one bingo ball at a time. Following selection, the ball number is announced to the players and the ball is then racked. Caller, the individual in charge of operating the bingo ball selection equipment, calling the numbers drawn, explaining each game to the players, and verifying game winners. Coverall game, bingo game in which a player must cover all the numbers on their card, also known as a blackout game. Free space, center square on bingo cards which has traditionally been free. Game board, an illuminated sign having a bingo card format of 25 independently lighted squares, shows players what game is underway. Example X, Big Diamond, Coverall, etc., also called pattern board. Hard cards, often called marker cards. They are printed on craft board and require that the player cover the called numbers with some form of chip. Hardway bingo, a bingo requiring 5 numbers to complete without the use of the free space. The numbers must be adjoining either vertically or horizontally. Jackpot, progressive, a large prize offered for a blackout or coverall game, usually awarded for a bingo achieved on or before a specific number of balls is drawn. If the prize is not won, a consolation prize may be awarded. The jackpot is then offered at the next bingo session with both an increase in the jackpot prize and the number of balls drawn. Markers, a writing instrument, usually an ink dauber or crayon, used to mark called bingo numbers on paper specials, throwaways. Probability, in a given bingo game, the likelihood that a bingo will occur within certain parameters. For example, in a coverall bingo game with 700 cards in play, there's a 29% chance that someone will bingo when the 29th number is called. Shutter card, also called a slide card, a heavy, multi-layered and machine-stitched bingo card with sliding plastic shutters over each number. Players slide shutter over called bingo numbers. Shutter cards are very durable and are often imprinted with a sponsoring organization's name and eliminate the need for markers or marking. Sleeper, a bingo discovered after the caller has gone on to the next number. The end.